quiet. Yeah. Hi there, welcome to episode 20 of the Norwenglish Knitter podcast. My name is Lizzy and I'm coming to you from Bergen in Norway, on the west coast of Norway, where I live with my husband and our miniature poodle Tilly, who you might be able to see down here. Hopefully she's going to be quiet this episode. I've got her next to me, so hopefully I can keep her in check. Today's episode is quite a good one. I've got about, I think, 8 finished objects as well as a few works in progress. So yeah, hope you enjoy. I just finished recording my episode, but I realised there was something I forgot to say, and that is a huge thank you to anyone who left me a comment or sent me a direct message after sharing my really personal story on episode 18. It honestly was so touching to see everyone being so kind and lovely and just leaving me really nice comments. I felt very loved and yeah, it's just really nice community to be a part of. It was a really hard story to share, and I was really nervous about talking about it, so thank you so much for all your nice words. They really, really meant a lot. Hope you enjoy the episode. As always, the links for everything I talk about today will be in the show notes below. So below the video you should be able to click on a little arrow or show more or something, and it will come up with all the stuff that I've written below the video. And I usually include the links to my projects pages and my Ravelry group as well. You can find me on Instagram as the Norwenglish Knitter, and you can find me on Ravelry as LizzyHut94. I do usually try to keep my Ravelry page relatively well updated and include some notes as well where I think it's helpful to other people. The best place to keep up with what I'm doing is definitely Instagram. I don't always post pictures, but well, I do post pictures sometimes, but not a lot of the time. But I do try to add to my Instagram stories just so people know what I'm up to when I'm not recording. So if you want any sneak peeks of what I'm doing, definitely go and follow me on Instagram. The structure for today's episode, it's going to be a little bit of chatter in the beginning, then I'll go on to my finished objects, then works in progress, and then I'll be doing my Procrasta-knitting segment at the end, which is basically all the things that I'm getting distracted by in the knitting world. So any patterns that I've seen, any yarn that I've bought that is distracting me from the projects that I should be working on, and that's why it's called Procrasta-knitting. And that's going to be quite a good segment today. So as usual, well, I haven't done this the past couple of episodes because I've only just started getting back into recording, but I will be dividing the video into chapters. So if there's a particular project that you're interested in seeing and you're not really interested in other ones, then you can just skip to those parts of the video. All you have to do is either click on the screen or hover over the screen where you see me, and then along the bottom there should be some different chapters for you. So maybe this might be quite a long one, so maybe you want to watch a little bit and come back later, and then it's a bit easier to find where you were, hopefully. So for today's chatter, I haven't really had that much going on really. In terms of the pandemic, everything's starting to open up a lot more, which is kind of a little bit scary but also good. Kind of mixed feelings about that, but it's been about 1.5 years since I've seen most of my family and friends. I was lucky enough to have my mum and dad come like a month or 2 ago when they the issue was that they weren't recognising the NHS COVID vaccination app in Europe, so that was a big thing. Like my parents were vaccinated, but they couldn't come because they weren't recognising their vaccination app, so that was a bit annoying, but then they changed it so they were able to come, so it was really nice to see them. but I'm dying to get back to England and see everyone. But I've been having an issue with getting my passport. There's been this whole passport saga. I've been trying to get my passport since January. And it looks like finally, after a lot of battling with them, it seems like the passport is on its way. So I'm really hoping that in the next couple of weeks I have my passport. I am also fully vaccinated now, so that's good. So I feel like everything's moving in the right direction. You know, we'll see about that. Tilly has had a haircut. You have to show them your nice haircut. Yeah. So last time she was looking a little bit scruffy, but she given her a haircut now. She hates having her hair cut. It's quite difficult to do, really. We do it ourselves, and it takes a good probably between 1 and 2 hours to cut her hair, and she hates it. So it always feels good to have it done though. So yeah, that's all that's really been going on here. So I guess we'll just get into the knitting. I'll start with what I'm wearing. This is the Golden Oak tank top. Who's it by? Amanita. I'll have it written on the screen. It's really nice, got this ribbing all over the body, and it's also got, if I stand up, a little bit of lace detailing along the bottom. I really like this top. I've actually just blocked it. I blocked it last night, so that's why I'm wearing it today. I knit it out of the Knitting for Olive cotton merino, which I really enjoyed working with, and it's a really nice, breathable, light, drapey fabric. It is I think fingering or light fingering. I typically seem to tend to work with fingering weight yarn. I don't know why. I think I just like drapey fabric. So that's what I'm wearing. So I'll start on my finished objects. The first one I'm going to show is one that's been on my needles since, beginning of last year. And it's because I was making it for my mum, and I had gotten to a point where I really wanted her to try it on before I knit any more on it, and I wasn't able to see her. So this one's been on the needles for a lot longer than I would have liked, and I finally managed to finish it after she was here. This is the Hitofude Cardigan by Hiroko Fukatsu, which is an all-over lace cardigan. And it uses the same lace chart throughout. So let's see if I can hold it up properly. It's quite hard to hold things up sometimes so you can see it properly. And I don't have a picture of her in it yet because I've only just finished it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And I have blocked it as well. I actually knit one for myself, and I showed this on my channel quite a while ago because I knit one for myself first, and she really liked it. So I could put this one on to show you. She really liked it, and I offered to make her one. So I let her choose the colour and everything. So it's really difficult to show, but it's got this really nice lace pattern, and it's really comfortable as well. I've knit this one and her one out of the Drops Baby Alpaca silk, which I'm a huge fan of this yarn. It's really soft, it's really drapey, it's a dream to knit with. It's 70% alpaca and 70% baby alpaca and 30% mulberry silk. And the fibres are actually untreated, so that means that they're not washed. They have no chemical treatment before they dye them, and it just results in this really soft fabric. And it's actually really, really warm. So I'm quite glad that this one is a lace, because I think if it was anything that wasn't lace, it might be a bit too warm for me personally, because I do tend to get quite hot in things like this. The other thing I really like about the yarn is that it's really affordable. So it's about £4, I think, for a 50-gram ball. And for this one, and I think even my mum's one, I used between 4 and 5 balls. So what's that? If I used 5, you need 5 balls because you need some of that 5th ball, so it's going to be about £20. And the pattern itself is $2 US. So great affordable project. And this was actually my first ever lace project as well. So if you know how to cast on, knit, purl, yarn over, and some increases in and decreases, I think, yeah, then you'll be able to make this. It's actually an interesting construction. You knit, you start off knitting flat like this really long piece, and you even use a provisional cast on. And you knit to a certain length so that it will be able to fit around your upper arm circumference. And then you do a 3-needle bind off on the bottom of the sleeve here on both sides. You then put the rest of the stitches so that you're knitting in the round. And then somehow you do increases every so often to get this nice shape on the front. And somehow it just works. I mean, when I was hearing other people talk about this, because when I wanted to make this, I watched some other podcasts of people that had made it, and it just didn't make sense to me how it was constructed and how it worked. But when you follow the pattern and you follow it step by step, it just does work. I don't know how. I've made 2 of them now. I still don't get how it works, but it just does. So I didn't do any modifications for mine, except for I made it a tiny bit longer. So I think I added like 1 or 2 lace repeats. For my mum's one, I did make some modifications. So I asked her how long she wanted her sleeves to be, because if I could change one thing about mine, it would be the length of the sleeves. I would either want them a tiny bit shorter or a little bit longer, because where it sits now, it's right in my elbow crease. And so I tend to sit, you know, with my arms like this, and then it gets all creased and bunched up. So I think I would want it just a little bit longer. And there was a project page on Ravelry of someone has some really helpful notes explaining how to adjust your cast on length if you want longer sleeves. Because what you cast on is both your sleeves and the back as well. So she explains it really, really well, and it's really easy adjustment to make. So I adjusted the cast on number slightly for that. And I also did, I have to take this off so I can show you the difference, but I did a 1x1 twisted rib. So on the back here, there's this ribbing kind of just under where the sleeves split for the body. So I did, on this one, I just followed it normally. And I don't know, I feel like sometimes ribbing just looks a bit messy. So on this one, I decided to do a 1x1 twisted rib, which is basically just knitting the knit stitches through the back loop and purling the purl stitches normally. And I think it looks a lot neater and really nice. And I think I added a bit of length to hers as well. I got her to try it on. So, yeah, but I think there's a lot of projects of this on Ravelry, so you can look at other people's and see how they've adjusted it. So I'm really happy to have that one done, and I'll be giving that to my mum next time I see her. The other thing to say is that is a sport weight yarn, and I think the pattern's written for fingering, but I actually got gauge with the recommended needles. So that's the first one. And then another finished object I have, which is for me, is another tank top, which is going to be quite hard to hold up and show you. But this is based on this tank top that I made. So after I finished this one, I really liked it, and I wanted to kind of use the pattern and the design but change it slightly. So I've actually made a halter neck. It's got the same slip stitch, is it a slip stitch? I think it is, slip stitch detail. So it'll go like this. And then it's got, let's see, what am I trying to say about this? I'm all over the place today. This is also made from the Drops Baby Alpaca silk, and this is some leftovers that I had when I finished one of my Minare tops. I had just under one ball left, so I cast on this, and I decided to work top down because this one's worked bottom up, so I thought, okay, I don't know how far my yarn's gonna go, I'm gonna work top down, so I just changed it and adjusted it so I could do that. But I did need to buy another ball. But I did finish this top using almost exactly those 2 balls. And I'm really happy with it. It's got quite a low back, and I added a little bit of ribbing to try and make sure that it was hugging me a little bit, which it's not really, it didn't really work. But you know, I'm not a designer, so I just try things and see if they work or not. And I made it quite fitted on the top, so it's very fitted around my bust, and then it goes like out, like almost like a circular skirt, because I did, once I'd gotten down to the bottom of my bust, I did increases like every 3 or 4 rounds, and I increased like evenly all the way around around the number of stitches that I had. So it's given it like a, well, I'll see if I can insert a picture of me wearing it so you can see, but it kind of goes, yeah, you can see that it's more like circular on the bottom, and it's just got this really nice drape, and I really like the shape of it. I think it's really flattering. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that one. If I was to knit it again, I would make it a little bit higher on the back. It has got quite a low back, so I need to figure out what kind of bra I can wear with it, because it does go underneath my bra at the back. I knit that on 4mm needles. Yes, and I can't remember what size I thought. I kept very vague notes in case I want to make another one, but I didn't keep very detailed notes. But whatever notes I did make will be on my Ravelry page if you're interested. So those are the 2 like main garment finished objects. I also have a couple of accessories. And when I was going through my yarn stash the other week, which I filmed a video of, I found some projects that I'd completely forgotten about. And this was one of them. These are the Hiedra Mitts by Alpakka of FiberTales. And they're really, really pretty. Got a little bit of cabling, this really nice braid, and some garter stitch. And I just needed, I had knit 2 of them, but one of them, the wrist portion was longer than the other, so they weren't matching. So I made a matching one for this one, which somehow has ended up smaller. I don't know how that's happened, but when I put them on, you can't really tell because they stretch into place. So let's pop them on so you can see. Well, I guess you can tell a little bit, but not massively. And maybe this one will stretch out a bit. It is made from an alpaca based yarn. It's the Drops Air, which is an Aran weight blown yarn, which is 70% alpaca, 23% nylon and 7% wool. So I feel like, because I have worn these a couple of times when I had the mismatched pair, and I feel like they have stretched out a little bit, so we'll see. But anyway, I'm calling them a matching pair, and I really like the fact that you can pull up the ribbing and have it covering your fingers, or you can have it pulled down. It's a really, really nice pattern. It's written for, I believe, a DK weight. Although she does say that the yarn she used, although it's listed as a DK weight, is more like a worsted. So I thought that this one would work fine, and it did. She's got 2 sizes. And yeah, the pattern is 40 Danish kroner. And I really like it. I really like the pattern. I do not like the yarn. I hate working with this yarn. I've been trying to make myself like it because it's so soft. Like, it's definitely next to skin soft. I just don't like knitting with it. I don't know what it is. One thing is that when I'm knitting with it, the fibres just kind of go everywhere, and I feel like I get them, like, my nose gets all tickly. I feel like I get them in my mouth. It's just really annoying. And although the yarn is really soft, I don't know. I feel like it's almost too stretchy, and it kind of grows, and I just don't think it was the best yarn for this project. And I think I'm just not a big fan of the yarn. I'm sure there's people out there that love it, but I think I've realised that it's just not for me. So I don't think I'll be buying it again. And because of that, I did start trying to knit up the other matching pair, like the one to match the shorter one, but I was just really not enjoying it because of the yarn. So I actually decided just to frog it. I've got one matching pair, and I'm definitely going to make this pattern again, but I'm going to use a different yarn. So instead, I just whipped up a couple of quick, really quick hats. This is a free pattern by Purl Soho, and it runs from baby size up to adult large. So it's a great pattern. It's just, it's called the Garter Ear Flap Hat. Yeah. So I made, let's see, this one's the baby size, and this one is the toddler size. And this one used only 17 grams of the drops air, and this one used 23 grams. So a great project for leftovers. I'm sure you could adjust the gauge if you have a different yarn, or you could hold 2 strands together of something. And this is actually a really great project. If you're new to short rows, this uses some short row shaping to get these kind of ear flaps. And it's just a really small section of the hat. So if you're new to short row shaping and you want to give it a go, I would recommend this because it's a free pattern and there's not a lot of shaping in there. And it uses, I think, 5mm and 4.5mm needles, which I think is a great beginner project as well, especially if you're trying new techniques. It's quite nice to use a slightly thicker yarn and bigger needles. And it's got these really cute little tassels on the top. So they do also have a tutorial of how to make these tassels. And that's great because you can use the tail that you end up with at the end of your project, you can use to make this tassel if you want to. Then you just have one end to weave in on your cast on edge. So yeah, I would model it for you, but it's a bit small for me. But yeah, I think it's really cute and it's really squishy. So yeah, I would highly recommend this pattern. I'm quite happy to have some more of that yarn knit up. I do have just a small, I can't remember where it is now, but I do have some of it left, but I think I've got like this much, like from here down, to rip out of the other one. But honestly, I might just throw it away. Or is that really bad? I don't know. I don't like throwing things away, but I just don't see myself using it. Maybe, I guess I could weigh it and see if I could get another hat out of it and give it away to someone. That's probably what I'll do. Okay, the next thing I want to show is a couple of projects which I'm counting as finished projects. They're not really my knitting projects. but I'm still counting them because I've still finished them. So these were actually knit by my husband's grandma, who passed away, I don't know, it must be a year ago now. I don't know, I've kind of lost all track of time, but it wasn't that long ago that she passed away. And she had this huge stash of knitting stuff, knitting needles and half-finished projects, basically. So I picked some of the half-finished projects and decided that I would try and finish them. And this was when I had kind of just started learning to knit, and I really didn't know how I was going to finish them, but I took them anyway. But now that I've got a little bit more experience under my belt, I thought I would give it a go. So with this one, I thought this one was really sweet. It's like a nice Christmas, I don't know, it gives me Christmas vibes. So this is like a modified drop shoulder, I guess, or set-in sleeve, I don't know. Anyway, the body was done, the sleeves were done. I just needed to sew in the sleeves, which I've done, and I don't think it looks too bad. And I also had to sew down, this was like a double collar, so I just needed to sew down, does that make sense? Like fold it over and sew it down. So yeah, that one's done. There's the back. And she's such a neat knitter, like these are her floats. I just think it's a really special thing to have. So I will be keeping these for myself for future. And this is another one that again was basically finished. It just had like some holes under the arms, which I've done my best to sew up. I don't think it's the neatest, but it works. So yeah, there's that one as well, which is nothing I think I would ever choose to knit myself, and definitely not like colours I would typically choose, but I actually really like it. So that's two more finished objects. And then I have another one. This is another baby kid knit, which is a nice little pullover, really, really lovely orange colour. This is knit out of the Knitting for Olive Merino in the colour, what's it called? Hokkaido or something. I'll have it written down below, but it's 100% organic merino, and it's quite soft, definitely next to skin soft, great for baby knits, and it's a, I would say, light fingering, I think. You get 250 meters per 50 grams, so yeah, I think that's a light fingering. So I knit the, there's the Tiriltunge newborn onesie by Shja. I have that pattern, and she also has another pattern which is basically the onesie turned into a pullover. And I was thinking about getting that pattern, but I thought I would just modify the onesie pattern that I had, so I didn't have to buy another pattern. So that's what I did, but you can find a very similar pattern written by her if you don't want to do the modifications. So all I need to do is add a couple of buttons on the front here. So in order to modify it, because normally it's knit flat, and then this whole side here would need buttons. So I started off flat and added in a couple of buttonholes, and then after a couple of buttonholes I cast off one side of the button band on the edge of the piece, and then I joined in the round. And I did include the eyelet details on this one because I thought they were really cute. I can't remember what size this is. I think it's like 3 to 6 months. I don't know, I can't remember. But yeah, really like that one. The Knitting for Olive Merino, I bought just because I wanted to try it, and so I figured that I would knit like a baby thing just to try it out, so I wouldn't need to get too much of it, because it's not the most affordable yarn. It's like 98 Norwegian kroner, I think, for 50 grams. So that's like, what, £8? So it's not really expensive, but it's definitely not one of the more affordable ones. This pullover only used 42 grams. So I actually have another ball and about 8 grams left of the first one. So I'm definitely going to make like another baby pullover or cardigan or something with this one. And I think that's all my finished objects. So that was quite a lot to get through today. But I also have some works in progress. And I'm really excited about these ones, and I'm been looking forward to showing especially this one on the podcast. So I showed this before when it was in pieces. This is the Botanist cardigan by Thea Colman, which is an all-over cable textured cardigan, which is just so beautiful. You can see this is the front here. Sorry, I'm really not the best at holding things up. I need to get better at this. Let's see, so this is the front. So all I've got left to do is to pick up the stitches for the button band and the collar. It is like a V-neck kind of shaping with a bit of a collar at the top. So yeah, and add the buttons and weave in the ends, and then I'm done. So I'm really excited to have this done, because I really feel like this is something that I'm going to wear a lot of the time. I'm knitting this out of the Drops Soft Tweed, which is 50% wool, 25% alpaca and 25% viscose. And I think it's a DK weight, whereas the pattern is written for a worsted weight, but I actually got a gauge quite easily with this. I can't remember, the needle size I use will be on my projects page, but I think I'm either using the needle size as she says or very close to. So you can definitely substitute in a DK weight yarn like this for this pattern. And I'm a huge fan of this yarn. It's the first time I've used it. First of all, I really like the colour. I like the kind of tweedy effect that it has, which is quite a subtle tweed, especially in this colour. This is the 03 colour, and the price is really good. So I think 150 gram ball is around about £4, which is so good. And I actually got, so in Norway I believe it's usually like 50, 55 kroner. And I got these on sale, so I got them for about 30 something kroner, which I guess is about like £2, £2.50, I'm guessing. But yeah, really good value, and it's definitely next to skin soft, but it's not like super soft. So to me it doesn't feel at all scratchy or prickly, but it's not like really soft like Merino is. It's really hard to advise people about yarns, whether they're scratchy or not, because it's such a personal thing, but yeah, I think this one is not scratchy, and it's quite squishy as well. So the pattern itself is $8 US, which is so worth it. Like, this pattern is so well written and it's just so beautiful. Like, she really knows what she's doing. She has both charts and written out instructions, which I'm typically a chart reader. I really like charts because I'm a really visual person, and I like just being able to glance at a chart and see where I am, as opposed to having to like look through all this text of like, okay, you know, you've got like knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, and then like, oh, I just find that so confusing when it's written out. I know some people really like it, but for me, charts are definitely better. But sometimes when I'm trying to interpret a chart, I like to have the written instructions, just in case there's something I'm not sure about, like, oh, what does this symbol mean, or am I doing this right? Then I can check the written instructions, and it just gives me kind of that backup to know what I'm doing. And in the written out instructions, she has parts, so like where there's parts where there's like really long block of like one row, she splits it into segments, so that some parts of it are in red, so it's a bit easier to follow where you are, and I think that's really helpful as well. I'll see if I can put it on. It is knit flat. It's knit from the bottom up and then seamed together. Now, I know some people really hate seaming, but I think for some things like this, it's just so worth it. Like, this is going to be so cozy. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to having this done. I can't wait for the buttons to arrive. I've ordered them from Etsy and they're coming from Hong Kong, so they're taking a little while to get here, but I just really wanted the perfect buttons for this because I think it's my favourite thing that I've ever knit, and I really wanted like just the perfect buttons to go with it. So that happened to be on Etsy, and it happens to be coming from Hong Kong because, you know, I like to make things difficult apparently. Yeah, what else can I say about this? I could honestly talk about this for hours. I just really, really love it. It's my first kind of seamed together. It's like a modified drop shoulder, which I really appreciate because I think sometimes with drop shoulders it can just add a lot of extra bulk under the arm. So I really like this modified drop shoulder. I think I've done a pretty good job at seaming it together. Even the sleeves are actually knit flat from the bottom up. I was contemplating doing them in the round, but I just couldn't be bothered to figure out like how to do that. Honestly, I just wanted to follow the pattern, and because this is quite, you know, it's not complicated, but it does require some attention, and I had some other things on my needles that I was already having to pay attention to, and I just wanted to be able to just follow the pattern, so that's what I did. Sorry. And I actually, the sleeves, they knit up so quickly, because if you follow the pattern as it's written and you do the body first, the sleeves are so quick because the body has taken quite a bit of time, and it has quite a lot of cabling on it, whereas the sleeves, they have this small section on the top here that has cables, and the rest is stockinette. Well, on the right side it's actually reverse stockinette, so they go so quickly. I think I knit the second sleeve in one day. Now granted, I was like knitting all day, but one day for a sleeve I think is pretty good. And the other sleeve, like the first one I did, took me 2 days. So it was really, really quick. And yeah, so lovely. So I'll be going into a bit more detail about like modifications and stuff when I finish this, because if I talk about it now and in my next episode, people might get a bit bored. But yeah, well, I think I'm just going to keep it on while I do the rest of this podcast. So that's The Botanist by Thea Colman, and I just love it so much. And my next work in progress is one that's been on my needles for a little while. I started this in July, and this is a project by Wallin. So it's one of her kits from her website. First of all, it smells so good. Oh, it smells like sheep, and I love that smell. It smells like clean sheep. So let's see where I'm at with this one. Last time I showed it, I'd kind of recently cast on the front and I'd finished the back. Well, now I have finished the front. So, and I've used some stitch markers to kind of attach it at the top, as you can see, so that I could put it on. But this is the back, and this is the front. So nice. I just really love the colours in this. It's really just makes me happy. It smells good. The wool itself is just really, really lovely. It definitely has a little bit of scratch, so if you're sensitive, you probably wouldn't like this wool. But I'm not that sensitive, and I think this will be perfect in the cold winters here in Norway. I did actually notice recently that, so you can see that here's the neck shaping at the front. I actually made a mistake on my back piece, so I need to rip back, but it's only at the very top. This here, the grey should have been this like light orange colour. As you can see, it should match this part on the front, like the orangey bit, instead of grey. So I need to redo that, but that won't take very long. Luckily, luckily it's right at the top. And then I just need to do, I'd probably say either a half to 2/3 of one sleeve. I just need to like check the length and really check that it's gonna fit like how I want it to, and then I need to do the other sleeve. This one's definitely taking a while because it's quite, you know, the chart it's a lot of colour changes. It's not very complicated colour work in the fact that there's not very many rows where there's long floats that you need to catch. There are probably a couple here and there, but most of the time you don't actually need to catch floats. However, the way that her patterns are written, well, at least how this pattern is written, is not particularly beginner friendly in my opinion. There's the chart that you use, and so for example she'll say which rows to increase on or which rows to decrease on, and you know, whether you do it on both ends or one end, but she doesn't actually explain how to do those decreases. She doesn't specify a decrease. She doesn't say where in the row at the end to do the decrease, like do you do it at the very end, do you do it so you've got one stitch at the end that you haven't done a decrease on, and that's something that you have to kind of figure out for yourself. The patterns are also not particularly size inclusive. This is the booklet that came with it. I'm knitting the size extra large. That's partly because I wasn't 100% sure of my gauge, and I wanted to make sure, I'd rather have like a bit more positive ease for it to be a bit too big than for it to be too small. But the extra large, if you follow the gauge, is for a bust of up to 117 centimetres, which is 46 inches. And the smallest size is for 32 inches, which is 81 centimetres. So it's not hugely size inclusive, but you do get the chart. So, I mean, you could adjust it if you're confident in doing that, but I think part of the reason people buy patterns is because they don't want to have to do that and they just want to follow a pattern. Someone asked me in the comments last time I showed this what the wool was like, whether it was scratchy. It is a little bit scratchy, I think I said that already, but it's really, really lovely quality. It's a fingering weight 2-ply kind of heathered look, and the heathered look to it means that all the colours kind of work really well together. You could definitely substitute in some other yarns for her patterns. I know some people use, like, I think it's Jameson and Smith yarn, but obviously then you've got to pick your colours, and I wanted the colours that she had in the design because I just thought it was really beautiful. Her kits and her yarn is not particularly affordable. It is a little bit pricey, but this was a really lovely gift from my mum after the difficult time that I've been through recently, which I shared on my not my last episode, the episode before. So you can go back and watch that if you want to. I'm not going to get into it again because honestly it's just quite hard to talk about. But yeah, the colours are really, really beautiful. I'll just hold up a couple so you can see. I especially really like this one. It's called Rose. This one's called Mallard. And this one's really gorgeous as well. This one's called Russet, which is like this rusty golden colour, which is just really nice. So yeah, really beautiful colours. And I don't know, I'm not really giving myself a deadline for this one, because I just want to enjoy working on it. It's more of like a sentimental knit for me, so I don't want it to feel like a chore or like I have to get it done by a certain time. Obviously it would be nice to have it done so I could wear it soon, because autumn has definitely arrived, so it'd be a good time to wear it. The other thing to say is that it's knit in pieces, so it's knit from the bottom up. You've got the front panel, the back panel, and the sleeves are also worked flat, so kind of similar to this cardigan, although the body piece was worked as one. And I know some people hate the idea of purling colour work. I actually really don't mind it. Here's my floats. I found the purling part to be okay, but the one part I've had trouble with is keeping the stitches at the edge even, especially when you're changing colours so much, and yeah, that is the only part that I've kind of struggled with. So we'll see when I go to seam it together how it looks. If I was to knit it again, I might try, like if I knit another one of her patterns that's written for flat, I'll probably try to modify it so I can steek it in the round, because knitting colour work in the round is a lot faster. But I actually wanted the challenge of knitting it in pieces. Sometimes I like to have something that's a little bit outside my comfort zone so that I can improve my knitting skills. And also this project was designed to be a distraction, and it definitely has been. Like, it served its purpose, it's been good. So I have one more work in progress to show. I feel like my voice is going really croaky now from talking so much. This one is the Maia Summer top by Bella Helms, which is a really beautiful tank top that is designed so you can wear, like, it's not reversible, but you can turn it around, like you can have the back on the front, or do you know what I mean? So if this is the front, you could actually wear that on the back and then have this on the front. I hope that makes sense. But it's a really beautiful design, and I'm knitting this out of the Sandnes Alpaca Silke in Gamurusa, which is old pink colour, and it's really, really beautiful. It's got this really nice slight sheen to it. It's soft, it's drapey, it's very similar to the Drops Baby Alpaca Silk, which I love knitting with. This is my second attempt because the pattern's actually written to be worked flat, and I did do it, I started off doing it flat. I thought I had done, I had swatched-ish, like I'm a bit of a lazy swatcher, and it ended up being a bit too big, so I pulled it out and I actually went down a needle size or two, and decided to knit a smaller size and knit it in the round. So I probably changed too many things at once. I'm also adding in waist shaping. So I've gotten up to this point here where you can see my waist shaping here, which I love. I've tried it on, love the waist shaping. I think that it's quite flattering on me, but it's not got as much positive ease as I would have liked. I would say that at the moment it's got probably about 0 ease, maybe a tiny bit of positive ease out push and in certain places. So I've made the difficult decision to rip this out again. So this will be the 3rd time that I'm knitting it, but I'm hoping 3rd time lucky. I really want to get this right, so I'm taking the time and effort to re-knit it the number of times that I need to. So I'm going to, I actually blocked this one and I have measured my gauge properly and I've worked out which size to follow based on that. So let's hope that 3rd time it goes well. It's got really nice tiny bit of cable and some lace detailing, and this is seed stitch or moss stitch depending on where you're from. It's the one where you purl the knits and knit the purls on each row or round, and it's got the same, it's got like moss stitch panel on the side, and it looks really flattering, really nice kind of simple details, but they all go together so well. So yeah, I'm hoping, look, here's my new, so I've got this piece which I'd ended up working from my old piece, which I'm now working my new cast on from the old piece, then I'll be ripping from this one onto the new one. Yeah, that's just how my knitting goes sometimes. So I'm trying to keep really detailed notes of what I'm doing for this one, so that if it goes well, which I'm hoping it will in the end, then I have it really clearly written down and I can use that as like a learning tool for other tops I want to make in the future. Oh, sorry, I have fluff in my mouth. I find that a lot of designs these days, like the kind of modern thing is for like these boxy tops and things, which I think look really nice on a lot of people. And sometimes I think they look all right on me. But for things like the strap tops, like tank tops, I actually think that a bit of waist shaping will look better on me. So that's what I'm kind of experimenting with. So I'll definitely keep you updated on that one. That's all my works in progress. Yeah. The other thing to say is the Sandnes Alpaca Silke is like 89 Norwegian kroner for 50 balls, which is what, like probably £7-ish. So if you want to try a similar one that's more affordable, I'd definitely go for the Drops Baby Alpaca Silk. But I do feel like the Sandnes line has more colours and just different colours as well. So check out both and see what you like. So yeah, that's all my knitting to show, which brings me on to my procrastinating segment. Yay! I've already been recording for like 54 minutes, so if there's anyone still watching, these are all the things that are distracting me from my current projects. The first one being the Stephen West Shawlography. I've become a victim of the make-along. I've never participated before, and I wasn't actually planning on participating because I have so many projects and I just felt like I didn't need to, and I would see everyone else's lovely projects and kind of participate that way. But there was one night recently where I couldn't sleep. I think it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and somehow ended up putting a kit together on Holst Garn website, and it should be arriving hopefully today. So there you go, I'm actually joining in the Shawlography now. I'm hoping that the colours go well together. The next day I was then looking through my stash and thinking, well, actually I probably could have pulled something from my stash instead of buying new yarn. So if they don't look good together, I do have a backup plan, which is some things that I just pulled from my stash. So I have the Rauma Phenol Part 2, PT2. I've got this kind of nice dusty pink, slightly purple undertone with a more kind of like salmony pink. I'll have the colours written down below, and then there's this nice kind of like navy blue and a really nice burgundy colour. So the idea behind his knit along or make along is to use yarns that have like high contrast. So I thought these were quite a good option. And he says that the shawl is going to use 5 100 gram skeins. These are all 50 grams, so if I do use these, then I will have to get 1 more of each. And then I also need to choose a 5th colour. So I was thinking I could either use this, which is the Hitofude Cardigan, which is, I think, maybe a little bit thinner than this one, but I think I could make it work. So that would be the first option. Or I could use my Hitofude Ask, which is this really nice kind of pearl white, which also goes really well. And the other option, which he did say that there might be like a chance to use some mohair in there, so I also have this Drops Kid Silk kind of dusty pink, which might be a little bit too similar to this one, but maybe I could hold them together at some points. So we'll see. I think my yarn should be coming today from Holst. I ordered the Holst Noble, which is mostly Geelong merino with a little bit of cashmere, I think 5% cashmere. And I'm really excited for that to get here. I really hope they go well together. And if they do and I decide to use those ones for the Shawlography, then I will definitely pair these together for something else, like colour work or another shawl or something, because I just think they really go really well together. So that's my first plan. Another thing I saw recently, which I really, really love the look of, is one of the patterns that Hoki Locatelli came out with. I'll just see if I can find it on my laptop. It's called the Newspaper Pullover, and I just fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. It's so beautiful. Let's see, pull up a picture. And I have posted this on my Instagram story before. But it's just this really nice, all over brioche, but playing with changing the colours over. And I just think it's gorgeous. I actually bought her ebook, so she's got 5 patterns that all came out as a collection, and this is one of them. So I bought the ebook because I just really love her designs. They're really classic shapes, but yeah, I don't know what it is about her designs, I just really love them. The other person who's come out with a new pattern recently is Thea Colman, and she's the one that's designed this cardigan that I'm making. And this one is called the Asti Spumante Tea. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. But it's a short sleeve jumper basically, or tee, with some cables and colour work mixed together. I just thought it was really, really beautiful. And when you go into the projects pages to see what people have made, you can really get like really different effects with different yarns, and like look at this one, just really, really beautiful. So that's definitely in the back of my mind, and I definitely see myself making this, but I don't really have any yarn for it, so I would have to get some yarn, and I do have a lot of stash, so I don't know when, but it's in my queue basically. And the other design I was looking at was the Very V-neck raglan by Jessie May of Jessie May Designs. This one here, which I think is really, really lovely shape. So basically I bought this yarn last time I was at Norwegian Spirit, which is a yarn shop in Bergen, in the centre of Bergen. I always end up buying stuff there that I haven't planned to get. Like, I'll go in for one specific thing and then I'll come out with all this stuff that I just got distracted by and fell in love with. And this is a really interesting yarn that I found called, I guess it's pronounced Maia. Maia? It's Danish, by Purl. And it's 100% cotton, and just the effect on it, like it's almost got like what you'd see in hand-dyed yarns with speckles, and it looks variegated. And I really wanted to make something out of this, and I felt like a V-neck tee might be good, so I might base it on, either follow that design or base it on that design. I'm not quite sure yet. So yeah, I do actually have a swatch, so I'll quickly go and get that. Okay, here's my swatch, which I've knit in the round on a 20cm cable, with the Chalgu 4-inch tips, 10cm tips. And I just cast on enough that I'd be able to comfortably just knit in the round. I couldn't be bothered to faff around with trying to do like a flat in the round swatch where you have to carry the yarn behind, and I've tried doing that a few times, and I don't know, I feel like it's just hassle, to be honest. I'd rather just sit and watch TV and knit a tube like this. I feel like it will give me a more accurate swatch, but that's just me. So it's quite interesting to see that actually this does stripe a little bit. It started off as kind of like really light pink, then it's got this like almost like grey baby blue and a bit of beige, so it's quite interesting. And obviously a bigger circumference like around my body is going to have a slightly different effect, so it will be interesting to see how this turns out. So yeah, that's what that looks like. So those are all my plans really, and my procrastinating, which is kind of constant. Like, I'm always looking on Instagram and Ravelry and just thinking of all the things that I could make, but I just don't have enough time or enough money. So just have to pick the best ones and take it from there really. My immediate plans are definitely to continue working on that Maia Summer top. Once the buttons arrive, hopefully very soon, then I can do the button band on this, and this will actually be done. So this one is basically almost finished, like, yeah. So, and then slowly chip away at my Bramble top by Wallin, and yeah, I think I have good control over my projects. I definitely have quite a few, but they're all kind of different. Like, I don't know, I don't feel overwhelmed at the moment with my projects, which is good. But I definitely don't really need to be casting on anything new, especially as I've got the Shawlography coming up, which starts on the 8th of October, I believe. So you still have time to pick your yarn and join in if you want to. I'm quite excited to join in. I've never really done a mystery knit along before, so I think it will be really interesting and just fun to participate, because I know there's like so many people that do this every year, so I'm quite excited to like feel part of that community, and see like all the different colours that everyone chooses, and like, yeah, I think it will be really fun. So let me know if you're participating. It might be nice to like have a little group chat or something. But yeah, that's it for today. Quite a long one. So if you've made it to the end, thank you for watching. Thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. If you click that like button, I would really appreciate it. It really helps. And if you can subscribe to my channel, then it just helps other people to be able to find me, and to find my videos. And don't forget, you can follow me on Instagram if you want to. And I hope to record within the next couple of weeks another episode. I'm thinking I might do a video entirely dedicated to this cardigan, so keep an eye out for that as well. All right, thank you for watching. Bye.